as you're aware that this is the third cabinet retreat, and it's a two-day retreat. As I mentioned to you yesterday, objective is to align the vision of different departments towards the larger vision of the state and the government as a whole. And number two, also to be able to allow the departments to set targets for themselves, share that target with the rest of the government and other officials, so everybody understands interdepartmental targets that are there. And it also in a way motivates and helps people see what the government and different departments are doing. So it's a great way to share vision, ideas, and to discuss and work together as a team towards the long-term goal of the state. Having said that, this particular cabinet retreat was focused on what we call the Mission 10 of the state government, which started with the $10 billion economy. But we also ensured that the $10 billion of GSDP would actually then work out into 10 opportunities of where we could invest and where we could work on to achieve that growth. How agriculture would contribute, how veterinary department would contribute, how tourism department would contribute, so on and so forth. And on each of these opportunities, what kind of jobs would be created while we work towards taking those departments forward. So those are the opportunities that we had, and the 10 opportunities, as you can see, it's right behind me. There's the commitments and the opportunities also there. So these are the 10 things we discussed today, and rather it's halfway only, so there's another few more presentations left. Yesterday we discussed about the commitments that we have. So while we have these opportunities, what is it that we're giving back to the society while we target towards going towards a $10 billion economy? And that was discussed yesterday. For example, housing for all. So while the investments are being made into the housing and the economy is growing, we achieve the target of ensuring that housing is there for all. Drinking water. So while the social cause of ensuring that drinking water is done, investment is being made. So economy is growing, but a commitment is being achieved. Similarly, for example, power, stable power for all. So while we are investing in the power department, we are also ensuring that the social commitment of giving power to all the houses is being achieved. Education and health. So while we invest in schools, while we invest in buildings and different education and health sectors, so these investments, while it adds to the economic growth of the state, it also achieves that commitment that we have made, which ensures there's a joyful learning for all. There is health care for everybody. So all those kind of aspects were discussed, shared with everybody, and we've aligned everybody's thought process towards taking forward the state and achieving the larger goal. So basically, in terms of the internet connectivity, just to share with you, like for example, in the 4G network, so we have almost close to 90+% those are connected. There is of course an issue which was raised yesterday, that there are some villages which on paper are connected, but the signals and the connectivity is not at the level that people would want. So therefore those kind of gray areas are also present out there. So now we are working closely with Government of India. Yesterday, in fact, when this presentation was being given about the towers and the connectivity of 4G, the issue came up that in a lot of these towers, the power connectivity is missing and MECL is not being able to respond quickly. So MECL, chairman was right there, power minister was right there, and there and then, while this issue of the towers and the power issue was being discussed, the chairman and the power minister stood up there and then said that there is no issue. Please give us a list of the locations and we will ensure that the power is given. So these kind of problems also get resolved in meetings like these, where everybody at the grassroots level is also being able to see what's happening. So that's the level of connectivity. But while we are talking about the connectivity of the towers and 4G connectivity, you're aware that we are also ensuring that the optical fiber connectivity is also achieved. So in that line also, again, we're working closely with the power department, and we intend to use the towers and the and the power the poles and the different towers that are there of the MECL to take overhead cables to different parts of the state, different blocks, and that's part of the project which we call the last mile connectivity. And that's a project that is kind of mixed, supported by center, and some part is done by the state government. So that also is part of our plan, which we expect that in the next 2 years we should be able to saturate, which will ensure that every district headquarter, every block, within the blocks, every school, every health department, every government office, all of them will be having optical fiber connectivities to the end. And that will again, as I said, help us in the larger perspective of governance, ensuring that education improves, ensuring that the aspect of health through telemedicine and other aspects also improve. So all of these are connected, and a very good presentation was given, targets were set, and they were shared with everybody. You're right, you're absolutely correct that physical connectivity also is there, but that's what our point is. Our point is that until unless we don't have these commitments in front of us. Now, everybody thinks about the $10 billion economy, everybody knows. But what we're trying to say is that while we're doing $10 billion, if we don't miss, and if we miss out the physical connectivity of this one village, which does not have a bridge, is it fair? So while the state is growing economically and becoming a $10 billion economy, there is this village that does not have a bridge, and people have to cross the river by going into the water. That's exactly the point of these commitments, that the state must grow, but there must also be equity, and there must also be a balanced growth where everybody is taken along, whether it's the water supply, whether it's the power connectivity, whether it's the internet connectivity, whether it's housing, whether it's quality health care, whether it's nutrition for children, whether it is physical connectivity. And that's why this allows us to balance out this growth story of ours and ensures that the equity is there in the growth story. And this is what we're sharing with the team so that everybody knows what we're talking about and what we're trying to achieve. You know, the Prime program has helped about 4,000 plus, almost 5,000 entrepreneurs. And we want to expand this even further. But the question comes in that how do we do this? What do we do to take the things to the next level? And the fact that there are so many departments who are doing their entrepreneurship program at their own level. So while Prime is doing something, Industries Department also has got its own program for livelihood, Agriculture Department has got its program for livelihood, Veterinary Department is doing something else, Fisheries doing something else. There is a need to combine all of these efforts and be able to bring it, and so that every department knows what other department is doing, so that there is no duplicacy. There is a unified, kind of a database, and data-driven decisions can be made as to how we need to move forward. So a simple thing like this caught my attention today, that we realize that we need to now ensure that departments talk to each other, and that's one of the purposes of the cabinet retreat, is to really align the thought process, align the actions, and align the outcomes of different departments. Just one example. You see, what happens, as I said, is that the officials do their work on a day-to-day basis. They go to the office, whether it's a block office, whether it's a department, they are told to give a file, this file is there, clear the file, or this particular application is there, go to the application, is it correct or not, kindly, pass it or don't pass it. So the point is that at the end of the day, we realize that sometimes officials get into the day-to-day activity, so engrossed in the day-to-day activity. Sometimes we end up losing sight of what really we are here for. What is a larger goal? What's a larger picture? And that's really what you said is exactly what we're trying to achieve. That the officers today are seeing that what is a larger goal that we're trying to achieve out here. So it's not just about, which I keep repeating, it's not about, the meters of canals that we have made, or kilometers of canals and irrigation canals we have made. So because departments like soil, water resources, they look at their achievement and say, we have constructed 200 kilometers of canals. But is that what we are here for? The larger goal is not to see how many kilometers of canals we have made. The larger goal is to see that the kilometers of canal that we have made, how much agriculture production has gone up. That is the final goal. So therefore, in programs like this, we allow everybody to understand that the purpose behind what we're doing and the larger goal of the government is much bigger than what meets the eye. So once in a while, we bring everybody, we share that goal, we align them to this goal, and we allow them to see not just what their department is doing, but what other departments also are doing. So that's really what the big picture is. But as I said, there's a lot of things. I don't think I can explain all of it in this short. I am a believer that we need to give it a try. If we already are pessimistic and say, well, it's not going to happen, no use trying, then I think we're not going to get anywhere. We are trying our best. We are motivating. We are pushing. I cannot guarantee anything, in fact, for the matter of fact, but only thing I can guarantee you is that I'll keep trying. So we are absolutely not in a denial mode. Absolutely not. All we are saying is that there is a history to how coal was mined in the past. And then there was a system, a ruling, a court that ordered that you cannot mine again in the way that you used to mine. And suddenly livelihoods were stopped. All we are saying is that if you snatch away a livelihood, if you snatch away the food on the table for a person, it's not easy, not simple for anybody to tell the person that you can't do it, because the person will be looking at how they'll take care of their family, because that's what they were doing for the last 200 years. I mean, they means the entire generations were doing for 200 years. So you have to understand the background with which things are happening. But as a government, it is our duty to implement the law. And while we do that, we realize that there is obviously we have got limited manpower. These activities are happening in different corners of the state. So what I'm trying to tell you is that we are not denying anything. We're not in denial mode. Our government has filed more than 1,000 cases against people who have been doing illegal mining. Thousands of people have been arrested. Thousands of people have been charge sheeted. Many people have been put behind bars. Mines have been closed. But while we do that, can we say that we can just stop everything around the state? We'll tell everybody, please stop it. But what I'm saying is, because of the history of how things have been and the dependence of the livelihood of people on this sector for hundreds of years, it is not the simplest thing to just simply expect people to stop doing it from tomorrow because a court order comes in. They will risk their life. They will risk their them being arrested. They will risk themselves being in whatever danger. They will risk. I'm not saying they should. Please don't think I'm promoting it. I'm just telling you the fact. So they will say that, look, we were doing this for many years. Now suddenly court says you can't do this. Government says you can't do this. Who's going to feed my children? So what I'm trying to tell you is that it's not easy for us to just simply say you can't do it from tomorrow and expect the whole world will listen to us. There are challenges. This is a very, very complicated process. But I think what is important is that we have seen that we have gone through that phase where we kept arresting people, we kept closing mines, we kept filing cases, we had filed charge sheeted, then somebody again mines somewhere, then again we pick the person up, we close it, then we go this side, again we close it. So this thing has been happening. It will continue happening in the future. So we're not in denial mode. We are acting very tough. We are doing, but one must understand the history of how this, why this is happening. But government will be firm. We are being firm. We are taking action against anybody where we find that there's an illegal activity going on. We're continuing to arrest people. But I expect that the worst is maybe behind us. There will still be certain challenges we'll face in the future, but because of the fact that scientific mining is now in place, mines are being now given out on, officially by the government. The court case has been, Supreme Court has given order to lift the ban, so on and so forth. I expect that we are in that transition mode where slowly and steadily we are moving in the right direction, and maybe in the coming years we will see this entire illegal activities completely die down and we'll have a scientific approach. It's a transition, it's a process, it takes time, and while that happens, challenge is always there. Thank you.